were involved in the Greenfield implementation, and then I think we stopped at the run phase last time. So we'll also look at how does the run phase help us in all the different type of challenges, activities, and the deliverables standpoint. So yeah, so we started with the prepare phase where we saw that we had a different type of challenges, including your stakeholder alignment, your resource allocation, your change resistance, and underestimating the scope. So we discussed all these challenges because that's the first stage where you go on, you sit with the client, you have your workshops, and there you discuss that what all different kind of uh, resources will be involved in this. We need to make sure that the kind of resources which we are planning, they are available for us right from the start till the end. I mean, even if we are unsure of it, yeah, I mean, at least we need to make sure that we have sufficient backup available. And even if there is a transition being which will happen down the line, so we need to ensure that the right kind of transition happens and any information gathered in this stage is not lost during the transition. So that's something which is a critical step in this phase. So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of resources plugged in, and then the scope also is not something which we are underestimating or which we are thinking that this will be something which can be managed by only limited number of people or limited teams. If we think that basis team is not required, security can manage it. I mean, it happens. I mean, I have seen people doing both security and basis, but then yeah, you need to have that right kind of skill set, and then before taking that onus, we need to ensure that we are prepared to do that. So yeah, I mean, all of it is something which we need to consider. Then comes your activities in this phase. So when it comes to activities, it's your project initiation and planning, we can say. That's something which usually is the first step which happens. So you go with a methodology that these are all the things which you will plan to have uh, talks with the client. You'll have the right kind of questions. So this is more of how you will try to understand what the client needs, and depending on that, you will try to gather more and more information what you want. So it's in these the initial two phases. It's like more of uh, taking the information from the client, and then depending on that, we'll be basically doing all our next phases based on what we get from the these two phases. So yeah, so project initiation and planning, feasibility study, governance and control. Yeah, that's again something which is good to have right from the start. So that's what is an important parameter. Then definitely change management, as I mentioned. So we should take into consideration the change management because in many of the migrations, what is of poor change management, uh, all the things which you are developing is if it is unable to move successfully to the next environments, then that is a big failure in terms of the migration itself, because you will again need to do that right from the scratch, or you will again need to do the same thing in development and then try to move it to quality or testing, whatever you would like to call that. So change management definitely is something which you'll need to add in your bucket right from the start. So in order to do that, we discussed that we have different deliverables which we should take into consideration, like your project charter, your project plan, your risk assistance. So yeah, all of it, if considered diligently, this will definitely assist you in making sure that your prepare phase is completed successfully, and then you are able to get the right amount of output which you wanted right from the start of the your first phase of the SAP Activate methodology. Then we talked about discover phase. So again, one of the challenges as discuss is your incomplete requirement gathering. So this is something which will impact you if you are unable to collect the right kind of requirements, as the information gathering will decide the what kind of products you want, what kind of business processes are involved. So all of it is decided in the discover phase or the prepare phase, the initial phases, as we say. And deciding that what kind of complexity is involved in terms of business processes is also something which is an important parameter, because in terms of ECC, we were able to have the different processes in different system, or there was a less complexity involved, we can say. But here, we have a mix of processes. You can have multiple processes in the same S4 HANA system which you are getting. So we need to understand that how complex are they trying to pitch? Is it something which is feasible in S4 HANA system? What kind of cloud products are they going for? How do we need to move one? How do we need to move the data? We can say from one application to another application. What kind of methodology are they trying to have? Or they are just, I mean, they'll not tell you that how they want it, but they'll just tell you that they want success factors for HR, they want Ariba for uh, supplier vendor related things, like, and then they want to keep S4 HANA for core finance. So all of it is something which we need to see, that how complicated is the process, or how complicated is something which they are trying to do. So yeah, that's again an important parameter which we need to consider. And yeah, in these phases, we usually do the fit gap analysis or fit to standard analysis. So we need to ensure that that is accurate. I mean, it will not fall accurate right from the start, but again, this is something which we need to consider, that the fit gap analysis which we are doing. So whatever gaps we are trying to find, that is something which is done accurately. And then yeah, because this is again uh, will impact us in our future phases, where we need to ensure that depending on the outputs from this, any anomalies we have found, any exceptions we have found, so that is something which we'll need to highlight. And then depending on that, the right kind of resources or the right kind of products would need to be plugged in. So yeah, the activities involved in this were your business process analysis. So we need to understand that what all business processes are in scope, how many business processes are interlinked, and what is the challenge which we may face going forward. So yeah, business process analysis, requirement gathering, then your deliverables definitely is your design document which you'll get from this. So you need to ensure that you have the right kind of documents available. This is more of a responsibility of functional teams, I would say, or any team involved in this creation of the business process design document. But yeah, if we are from a security team, and then we need to have a understanding of how are they planning to do that, how are they planning to move the data and all. So this is something which will come in handy, which we may need to refer to. We may not need to understand it entirely, but yeah, this is something which will be good for us in order to understand that how their business processes are structured for that particular client. And yeah, requirement specification, gap analysis report. So yeah, all of it is something which we will do uh, in this phase. So next, let's talk about the explore phase. So yeah, finally the data quality. So this was the issue which we discussed, that due to poor data quality, you may face lot of troubles in the explore phase. So when we talk about data quality, it was like when you are moving your data. So any poor quality of your existing data, like if that is not altered in ECC itself, that what is compatible with S/4HANA, what is not compatible. So your testing may affect, because a lot of issues you'll face as uh, whatever custom codes they would have created, if those are moved entirely, so some of them would definitely not work because they are not compatible with the S/4HANA versions in which they are moving. So we need to ensure that we are having the right kind of data, and the data quality checks is something which should happen in the explore phase. So that's one of the challenge. Next is your user engagement, as we discussed. So getting the sufficient engagement from the future system users for testing and feedback can be difficult at times. So if you do not have the right kind of users who will be testing whatever you have created, so again, you'll not get the right kind of feedback, and then you may assume that this is something which you have done is entirely correct. There is no need of any modification in this. So again, we need to ensure that uh, the users who are testing what we are creating are knowledgeable enough, and then they have the right kind of expertise to provide the right feedback. Whether whether we have put the right kind of restrictions, whether we have use the Fury apps in a right way. If there are anything that a accountant needs to do, is it something which is available for him to do? So we need to ensure that the right kind of users are available who are supporting us in whatever we are creating, so that we get the right kind of feedback. Then when it comes to activities, yeah, explore and deploy both are very important. So we need to ensure that the system configuration is in place. If any fine tuning is required, we may reach out to the respective team and then try to ensure that the system is fine tuned. Any workflows, say for purchase order approvals or for billing management, if it is anything which is not going under a proper workflow, uh, if the right kind of approval stages are not in place, so that is all something which we'll need to ensure that the configuration is intact. And any form of data migration activities also starts with this phase. So we need to ensure that loading and validating the final set of data uh, is correct before we try to go live in the further stages, which is that your uh, can be your deploy stage, can be even in the run stage as well. So all of it is something which we'll need to see that this is taken care of in this stage. And finally, coming to the deliverables for this phase. So you'll have your testing plan and results in this. So you need to ensure that whatever testing you have planned, you have the correct set of documents which are outlining your testing approach and the outcomes. You have the right kind of configuration documents which are guiding the detailed system setup. So you need to ensure that the basis team, if they are doing it, or any infrastructure team, if there's a separate team for cloud, separate team for on-premise, you need to ensure that the entire configuration document which are detailing your system setup is there in place. All of it will help you in ensuring that your explore phase uh, is completed correctly, and then you have the right set of outcomes from this phase. Then coming to realize phase, so we need to ensure that the challenges faced in this phase related to again the custom development. Uh, that's a major drawback which we have seen, that because the more and more custom things the client has created in his system, tracking them, making a note of them, that if all of them is uh, again fixed correctly as per the as for HANA versions, is something which is a challenging thing. So we need to ensure that all the custom developments are taken care of. Any custom reports which were created are taking into consideration that have we adjusted them to the right kind of fixes which had to be done in it to make it as for HANA compatible. So that was a challenge which we discussed. Then we discussed about the integration complexity as well. So we can think of it like, ensuring that for a seamless transition between your S/4HANA and third-party applications, It can be your Salesforce, it can be your Oracle, or it can be any other third-party application which is there in the client landscape. So we need to ensure that again all of this is taken into consideration, and we do not create it more complexity in it. So because integrating your S4HANA systems may become complex at times, especially if those systems, whichever we are integrating it with, if they are the new age systems, like if it's your Salesforce, if it's your Workday, then this is something which will have your APIs which are available and then which can be readily plugged in with S4HANA. But if those are any outdated systems, any mainframe system, if it's running on a mainframe system, some activities, and then they want to integrate it with S4HANA. So we need to see that if that is something which S4HANA provides compatibility with. So we need to ensure that we discover all of it in this phase. So it becomes challenging at times. So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of analysis related to integration done here. Then finally, your data migration issues also uh, falls under this. So data migration, as we discussed, the client may face challenges such as data loss or corruption or any inconsistencies with the data whenever we are migrating it from ECC to S4HANA. So we need to ensure that the right kind of tools we are using, the right kind of methodology we are using. We'll see some of the steps which are some of the tools which are involved for data migration in the next slides. But yeah, uh, from a realized standpoint, we need to ensure that when we are dealing with the large volumes of data, so yeah, we need to be cautious enough to ensure that sensitive data is migrated first. It is taken more into more priority. Then other data also are dealt with caution, and then we move all of them in a proper way to the S4HANA system. So when we talk about the deliverables, again, you need to ensure that you have the entirely configured SAP system at the end of this phase. All the custom code which have been modified, which have been developed, if required, newly in the S4HANA system are again properly documented. You have the documentation of all of it in place. Then comes your data migration results. So again, you need to ensure that the right kind of data migration results is something which is captured. So yeah, all of it, we can call it as a deliverable for this phase, because at the end of the realize phase, you'll be in a position where you can say that yeah, your system is ready, and the next step would be definitely to go for the deploy phase, which is nothing but your go live phase. So let's see what we had in go live phase. So yeah, what we discussed was yeah, the go live anxiety, we can call it. So even though how well prepared you are, go live anxiety is something which you can't get away with. This will be there unless everything happens well, and then you don't run up into any ad hoc errors or anything. So this is something which will still continue to be there. So the multiple teams, especially uh, your basis team, your security. Like I can't say which team will not have anxiety, will have more anxiety, but yeah, the entire organization may experience anxiety and resistance as well as the go live date approaches. Uh, it can be related to your system failures or the downtimes, as we discussed. There can be various things which we need to take into consideration. So that's something which is a challenge for this phase. So we need to ensure that we are prepared for it. Then there can be various types of deployment errors which may come in. So we need to ensure that we are prepared. Anything related to data and inconsistencies, your system downtime. Yep, all of this is something which I've seen, which usually happens in deploy phase. And then finally, your end user proficiency. This is also again will come into picture, because despite multiple trainings which you would have given end users, may still not feel confident enough to use the new system. It can lead to reduced productivity, we can say. So again, this is something which we need to take into consideration, that end users are proficient enough. And then finally, your data migration completion. So we need to ensure that all the data is uh, and accurately and completely migrated, I can say, to the new S/4HANA system, which again can be a challenge. So we need to ensure that this activity is completed in the deploy phase. Then coming to the uh, activities which we need to do in this. So activities again will revolve around the challenges which we have faced. So we need to ensure that any final smoke test, stress test, I mean different kind of namings are called when it comes to go live. So performing those final stress tests to ensure that your system performance is under load, all the things are totally moved. Uh, some whatever tests the other teams are planning to do, they are in place. So all of it we need to ensure that it is there as an activity which is planned for this phase. So in order to ensure that the go live is successful, we need to ensure that any last minute trainings also, if required, to ensure that all users are prepared is something which we'll need to do. All of it again, I mean, coming to challenges, if they are just a replica of whatever we face, we need to ensure that all of it is covered here in terms of activities which we are doing. Then finally, your first and major deliverable will be your production ready SAP system. So we need to ensure that all the systems which we are planning to go live are ready for your final production use. All your training materials which are developed by multiple teams, you have a repository of it in one place where all of it should be readily accessible for any end users if they are planning to have a look at any of the training documents, any of the previous, like if you are having recorded calls, so they can refer to those calls, they can discuss that what was told in that, what was something which they need to consider. So all of it is again something which we need to ensure is in place. And then your go live readiness report. So this is again something which is a deliverable out of this phase, we can say. So any document which is confirming that the system and the organization is ready for the transition. So majorly what I've seen is, so the people who do the migration, they basically hand over it for the support phases to any other clients. So we need to ensure that we are having the right kind of go live readiness report so that we can tell the other vendor or the other contractor, whoever we are transitioning it to, or even to the client homegrown team itself, that this is something which, as an implementation partner, we have done. We have ensured that all the systems are ready for the go live. So we need to ensure that a go live readiness report is in place where it is confirming that the system and the organization for which we have done it is ready uh, to go live, and then it is ready for this entire transition which we have planned right from the start of the prepare phase to the end of the deploy phase. So let's go to the next phase, which is your run phase. So let's just see challenges we may face in this phase. So when it comes to your run phase, it is basically now you have got the system. It is you are running it. The production system is running. The end users are using it. So basically, the challenges, if you think about in this phase, basically would revolve around your incident management.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of tools in place to address any of the incidents, SRs which are raised. So rapidly addressing the incidents or SRs to minimize any impact on the business operations can basically strain your resources. So you need to ensure that it is something which is uh, there in place. And then second, as we discussed already, so change management is also something which should be taken into consideration in the run phase, because you will be moving lot of changes now. Lot of things would need to move from development to production because of the different needs which the production users may come across. So managing and implementing your changes without disrupting the ongoing operations basically is something which becomes a challenging uh, thing when we talk about run phase. So change management also is a challenge when we talk about in the run phase, because that's something which, if it is not in place, then it can definitely lead to a lot of issues. So that's why we mentioned that we need to ensure that we have it in place right from the start whenever we are talking about the different kind of products to be managed. Then this one is something which is a key thing when it comes to run phase, I would say, the continuous improvement. So you have got the system, you'll be getting various feedback which you may not have got initially at the time of discussing this with various users, because at that time they may not have realized that what all things can be challenging for them, or what all things is something which they want to adopt. So as in when they start using the system, they may come up with different kind of improvements which they would want. Some of them may be feasible, some of them may not be, but definitely continuous improvement is something which should be tracked. So continuously identifying and implementing any system improvement requires your ongoing commitment again, and may need or require you more resources as well. So if you would have planned for your run phase, if it's something which you are responsible at a later point, that you would now want only 2 developers in your team, and you would need say 5 security people, you need 2 bases, and similarly some technical and functional. But again, if you come across some activities where you would require more developers to pitch in, you would require more third-party tools now. So this is something which you need to be planned. You need to plan in an effective way to ensure that if any kind of resources are required, or any additional commitment is required from the existing team. So this is something which is taken into consideration whenever we talk about your continuous improvement. Then finally, uh, for the success of this phase, user adoption is a key challenge which we need to uh, make sure that we are placing an importance to. So ensuring that all the users can fully adopt the systems which they have got, and then they are effectively using the new system. Uh, it can be an ongoing challenge which will improve with time, but again, we need to ensure that we are taking the right kind of feedbacks to ensure that the user adoption is something which is uh, taken care as a challenge for this phase, so that we are finally ensuring that we are tracking the issues from the users, or the different kind of improvement parameters which they are telling us, uh, how they are trying to adapt to it, because it will be, for some of them it can be a drastic change, because they have shifted from how they used to do it for 10 to 15 years. Now they are doing it in a different way. They are using, they were in a habit of doing one activity from one T code and then moving to another T code. We can say it like that, but now they just have one Fiori app. It can be other way around, that in one T code itself they were able to do multiple things, but now instead of that they are having multiple Fiori apps, which we'll see further. that how Fiori apps are divided based on functions as well. So there are few activities which were earlier involved in only one T code. That from one T code they had to prepare something. Then there only they had a option to give a uh, input for another process, uh, and then further go ahead with the um, process what they were doing. But now in Fiori we have different Fiori apps for different kind of things. So all of it requires your users to adopt to. It may take time, but then yeah, this is something which needs to be recorded as a challenge, which we have seen from the previous experiences. So yeah, once you are ensuring that you are trying to track it, I think yeah, this is something which can be resolved through uh, again providing the right kind of answers to their queries, right kind of feedback to them. So we need to ensure that this is something which is taken care of and not neglected when it comes to challenges of the run phase. So next, if we talk about the activities, so again, as we talked about challenges, the similar activities will revolve here. It will have your incident management tools check. So you need to ensure that your incident managements uh, are there. It may revolve around your login issues. It may revolve around your system errors or any other errors. So you are ensuring that your incident management is tracked. Then next, again, I would say your change management tools. So you are having the right kind of tools in place to ensure that the change management is being tracked, and then sufficient kind of approvals or SODs are in place when it comes to approving anything or moving anything from your development system to the next systems. Then I would say your SLAs tracking. So for any of the incidents which are raised or tickets which are raised, we need to ensure that we have the right kind of SLAs or SLEs which are there. So any kind of service level agreement related things is tracked in this phase. So we need to ensure that the agreed SLAs are met. So that's something which we can say as an activity. And then definitely your continuous improvement tracking. So just be your replica of all the which you have faced. So and then finally, what will be your deliverables from this? So as you talked about incident management, so you need to ensure that any of your incident or some of it we are calling as problem incident. So incident and problem reports we can see those are in place. Further documentation of issues, how were we able to resolve them, what are the RCAs required were done. So if there were any complex issues which came in, so was an RCA done or not done? So all of it, we need to ensure that it is tracked, because again, it will be beneficial for us in the long run if we are doing the right kind of tracking of the multiple issues which we are getting. So because the similar issues may arise going forward, and then the time we spent for fixing those in the initial time of run phase may become handy down the line, maybe say 1 to 2 years from now, if the similar kind of issue happens. So we may have some reports which we can refer to, and then that is something which will save us a lot of time. So you need to ensure that the right kind of documentation of issues and RCAs are tracked. Then finally, your improvement recommendations, I would say. So whatever we are getting from the various user interactions or the user stories, if we are for following the Scrum methodology, so all these kind of things which we are tracking. So it can be related to any of it. It can be your system enhancements, it can be your user training programs. So all of it, you need to ensure that it is tracked as a deliverable from this phase. Then finally, your change management documentation. This is important parameter again, because any records of your changes and their impact in the implementation and any of the implementation details related. So we need to ensure that all of it is tracked in this. So with the help of this, we can say that once this is done, then yeah, the organization will be in a stage where it can say that yeah, it is now completely ready. All the SAP Activate methodology steps are followed diligently, and with the help of this, we can say that uh, yeah, now we have completed the S4 HANA migration, the Greenfield migration here. I would say many of it would be again applicable for your uh, brownfield as well. But yeah, like once we are done with the run phase, we are ensuring that all these deliverables are there. So this will make sure that we are handing over or we are taking it again to the normal AMS phase where we are working on it, and then again we don't need to do everything from scratch. If we have done everything correctly, the system which is available for the end users will be in a place where yeah, it will definitely help them to focus more on their strategies and then focus less on the complexities of the end system or any custom developments which may who would have caused any hindrance to their regular work. So this may not be the case once we are done with all of these phases and the right kind of deliverables are in place. So yeah, just to sum it up, I would say I have, based on the experience I've just find out, like came up with few of the mitigation strategies, I would say, for all these phases combined. If we try to talk about, so there are various mitigation strategies if we try to follow right from the start to the end of the phase. So if we try to follow all of it uh, based on the strategies, some of them if I'll discuss with them, uh, so it will help us in each of these phases. It may not directly refer to that which phase which strategy would help us, but yeah, this is something which will come in handy. So let's just discuss them. The mitigation strategies when it comes. So what I have seen is if we are trying to engage the stakeholders early and we are trying to engage them more as and when we uh, fall into any issues, we are trying to trace it out in order to assume anything. If we are trying to engage the stakeholders early and right from the start, we are ensuring that the right kind of alignments are there, and then we are trying to meet the expectations which the stakeholder would have had on us. So I would say the strategy is engagement of stakeholders at early stages. So with the help of this strategy, will help us in ensuring that any kind of expectations which are set for us, and if we are unable to meet it or if we are facing any challenges, so yeah, though we are doing our RCAs, we are doing our best to ensure that this is something which can be overcome. But if not, also this is something which we need to convey in a right way. So you need to ensure that you are not engaging your stakeholders at a very last stage or at a very middle stage where uh, we see that okay, this is something which can't be delivered, or if it took a lot of time just to understand that yeah, again this can't be delivered, we can say, or this can be delivered but with not the expectation which the client would have set on us. So we need to ensure that we are engaging the stakeholders at early stages, and then we are ensuring that the right kind of alignment is in place to manage the expectations which are there. The second, I would say, again, investing in comprehensive training and change management initiatives. So comprehensive training and change management strategies, I would say here. As we discussed, in multiple phases where change management is involved. So we are ensuring that we are investing in right amount of training and change management strategies or initiatives, which will basically ease your transition for the employees. So this is again a mitigation strategy which we can say, which we can become handy for us whenever we try to implement any migration methodology. Then another mitigation strategy which comes to my mind is again keeping it simple. We need to ensure that your thorough testing, yeah, your thorough testing is in place. So whatever you are testing, your the testing scripts, whether they are manual, they are automated. It can be that separate testing teams are involved, or maybe your technical team is doing, functional team is doing, whatever is there. So a thorough testing is done. So it will save you from lot of uh, activities which you don't need to redo, or you think that it is working fine, but at the end of say couple of months when it moves, then you face the actual issue. So we need to ensure that the thorough testing and quality assurance process is there to minimize any errors and disruptions in the future. So this is a common mitigation strategy which can fall in for multiple phases where the testing is involved. And finally, I would say your allocation of resources and budget. It may require in your starting, it may require towards the end, but again, this is something which we need to take into consideration, your allocation of resources and budget. So if we have the right kind of allocation for the resources or the budget to for any unexpected challenges which may come in, or we need to ensure that the right kind of skill set we have in our team who can help us uh, for that particular product or the particular challenge which the client has mentioned us, and then we are trying to uh, have it embedded in our system. So we need to ensure that we have all of it, whether it may relate to your budget or your resources, they are finally in place. So all of it will ensure. There can be various other mitigation strategies as well, which we can talk about. But yeah, I think if from a comprehensive standpoint, I think these are the four ones which I believe if we take into consideration, then all of the phases will definitely run smoothly. Like though they have their individual challenges and activities and deliverables, but yeah, I think this is a common thing which we can try to implement, right? As a mindset, I would say that if we go in with this kind of mindset, then definitely it will help us in resolving multiple challenges which we may face during the migration. So yeah, I think addressing any of these challenges can definitely increase the chances of a successful S/4HANA implementation, and it will enable the organization to fully realize the benefits of the investment which they are doing. Yeah, I think that was it for the Greenfield implementation migration.
So, no, as you said, all these detailed steps for Greenfield implementation. So, like, it's not only the security associates responsibility, right? It will be done through along with all the functional, technical, all the teams, right?
Yes, Chatra, correct. So it is not only security team's responsibility to ensure that all the phases, all the activities are completed. It is definitely a combination of multiple teams working together in order to ensure that this is delivered. But then why I included all the activities deliverables was because it tends to like we tend to uh, kind of get lost
Yes,
at
yes.
some point of time where we are unsure that if it is something which is on us or what kind of things we need to expect from other teams. So which I have faced because being a security, they may reach out to us that this is not done, but then for us to complete that, we need some prerequisites to be completed. So yeah, that's why I think good to have a knowledge of this. So which
Mhm.
will help us in ensuring that yeah, we are countering them back as well. But again, this is something which is a involvement of multiple teams, uh, and then not only security. It is definitely not security. We can't do all of it uh, on ourselves only. But good to know what the other teams need to do as well, so that if they are not doing, we are at least trying to question them this is something which we were expecting you to do. So is it completed or not? Then yeah, that's why I think we discussed all of this.
Yes,
Hope it
yes.
was helpful. Yeah.
Yes, yes, they are helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
The key tools which we will require for executing our greenfield implementation. So there can be various tools, but yeah, I think these are some of the common tools which we need to keep in mind. So whenever we talk about SAP Activate, the first thing which SAP always tries, and it has been there in its landscape for long, is your SAP Solution Manager. So basically, Solution Manager is nothing but a comprehensive management solution which the SAP offers, and then it is basically a centralized platform, we can say, to support and manage your SAP as well as your non-SAP applications throughout their life cycle, right from their planning uh, to implementing to operating and finally to optimizing itself. So this is something which comes in handy whenever we are implementing any greenfield implementation. So some of the key features which the solution manager offers us is your project management. So it offers you the tools for your planning and tracking of your project progress, its tasks, its resources. So there, as we discussed, that there will be multiple teams involved. So we need to ensure that we are not we, I mean, whoever is responsible for solution manager is tracking all the tasks or the project related progress, that what we need to achieve, whether you are following a agile methodology where you are having certain tasks with for 2 weeks or 3 weeks based on uh, the methodology of agile, if you are adopting or you are using a custom agile, or if you are not using agile, you are still doing waterfall, that's also acceptable here. So but we are ensuring that we are planning and tracking the progress, and resource tracking also is there. So solution manager will uh, try to help you with that. Then finally, your process management. This is also something which your Solman can help with. Yeah, your process management, your any, I mean, it provides you capabilities for your modeling, your managing, and your testing of your business processes as well. So that's also a key feature which the solution manager will provide you. Then finally, it provides your change control management as well. So it will facilitate the management of changes in your SAP environment, and without having any disruption, or ensuring the minimal disruption, I would say. So that's also one of the key features which the Solman would provide you. Then finally, your testing, I would say. So an integrated testing suite for both your manual as well as automated testing workflows. So this is also uh, an integral key feature of Solman, which it would provide you. So finally, if we talk about the benefits as a comprehensive thing, we can say that your solution manager will provide or ensures you that your consistent project and application lifecycle management is there, and enhan- it enhances both your implementation efficiency and your post go live support as well. So that's solution manager which we use. Then finally, when it comes to your data migration tools, so you have various data migration tools and data migration methodologies which are available for doing the data migration. So yeah, some of it, if we talk about, uh, they can be uh, your SAP data services, I would say. That's one of the tools which are used. So any of the complex data migrations which require various transformations involved. So SAP data services is something which comes in handy, which we need to have uh, skilled resources who have worked on this to ensure that the data migration is done in a correct way. Then finally, your data migration cockpit. Uh, it's something which I have seen for multiple clients. They are leveraging this. So this basically provides you a direct data transfer from your legacy to SAP S4 HANA systems. So yeah, again, this is something which uh, is required whenever you are trying to do a data migration. you will hear about these terms more, as in whenever any data migration related things happens. So, and finally, there's another data migration tool called as SAP Advanced Data Migration by Synity or Synity. So, yeah, it's again a comprehensive tool which has been uh, there for with SAP for quite some time, and it basically provides you a comprehensive mechanism for any of your complex migration, and it emphasizes on the data quality more. So this is also something which you can go for. So these are some of the data migration tools which we can use, and there are various methodologies such as a staging methodology is there, step by step methodology is there. I mean, different type of things are involved for these different tools, how they plan to uh, do the data migration. So yeah, I think all of it is something which is good to know. I mean, you can try to read more about it. I'll share you some blogs where they have discussed all of this in detail. But yeah, this is not something which is directly impacting us, because for us to work, yeah, the data migration has to be done correctly. But yeah, there's a separate team who are involved in doing this. But yeah, I think good to know about these tools. If you want to read more about it, I'll share you some of the blogs or some of the links where uh, yeah, all of this tools related things, how they work, what's the process behind each of this work, because all of them would not suit for every client. So that's why they, like, these are some of the common tools which are listed, but there are various other tools as well which are can be used. When SAP S/4HANA provides that flexibility for clients to use the data migration tools as per uh, their wish, I would say, or how it is compatible for them. So yeah, you can read more about it in that. But yeah, I think this is in a crisp way what all tools can be used for data migration. Then finally, your testing tools. So uh, testing in S/4HANA basically will ensure that your system meets the business requirements and performs as expected under various conditions. So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of testing tools in place. It is, as we discussed, was one of the mitigation strategy as well, to ensure that a thorough testing is done. So in order to ensure a thorough testing is done end to end, the right kind of testing tools is also something which the client would need to invest in. So the first comes, as we discussed, the solution manager test suite itself. So there's a Solvent test suite which is available. So it can be used for managing and executing any of the test plans directly within your SAP ecosystem itself. So that's something which will come in handy. Then finally, there's a testing tool called as SAP Quality Center by Micro Focus, I would say. I mean, I think this is a name which um, the SAP calls it basically. So it's also a tool for your test management. It focuses on the complex SAP environments, I would say. So if we have this tool, then it will help us in ensuring that even if we are going for a complex S/4HANA setup, then this tool will help you in capturing your end-to-end processes in a comprehensive way. So SAP Quality Center by Micro Focus is another testing tool. Then finally, your TAO, you would have heard about this. It's nothing but your SAP Test Acceleration and Optimization tool. So it basically accelerates the creation and execution of your automated test scripts. So if there are test scripts and then there are many automation testing which are to be done, then your TAO tool or your uh, test acceleration and optimization tool is something which is a good tool to go for. Then finally, with the help of all of this, it basically ensures that your mm, testing cycles are reduced. You don't need to spend more and more time in the manual testing. So by utilizing these tools, the SAP's own testing tools, as we talked about, it will reduce your testing cycle, it will increase the coverage, and it will increase your overall system quality and stability, I would say. So there are other testing tools also available. When we talk about public cloud, there's other kind of tools which are available, which can be used, which the SAP also provides. But yeah, all of this, what we discuss is majorly uh, applicable for your private cloud or your on-premise S/4HANA. When we talk about public cloud, there's various different kind of tools which are available, which can be leveraged by the clients. But yeah, I mean, like we have solution manager. So similarly, there's something called as CALM or CALM, which is available in the public cloud. So uh, we can talk about it more if required, but I think it's not important right now. But yeah, we just need to ensure that the right kind of tools. Some of them are SAP proprietary tools, which are available in the market. So if we are using the SAP proprietary tools, then this is something which uh, will be more helpful. But even if we are going for the tools which are not SAP proprietary, then also it works fine. I mean, it works well, I would say, when it comes to S4 HANA, because S4 HANA is compatible with other testing tools as well. So yeah, I think that's all about the testing tools which are available. Next, finally, your project management tool, I would say, or the collaboration tools. So finally, your project management or the collaboration tools is something which ne- needs to be in place. So when I talk about collaboration, the first thing which comes in mind is our Microsoft Teams itself. So we need to ensure that Microsoft Teams or some of the clients who don't prefer Microsoft tools, they would like to go for Slack. So Slack is also something which is used by many clients because they don't want to keep Microsoft Teams or the Microsoft related tools available because of their different data protection things which they may not agree with the Microsoft terms. So yeah, there can be Microsoft Teams, Slack, Zoom is also there. So this is something which needs to be in place in order to ensure that the right kind of collaboration is happening. So yeah, I think we don't need to speak more about these tools because all of it use it day in and day out. So just yeah, it we need it because we need to ensure that an effective communication happens, uh, and then in order to reduce any misunderstandings or improve the decision making and enhance the overall team productivity throughout the implementation project. Yeah, we need to ensure that these collaboration tools are available and then they are not facing downtimes quite often because this will definitely be a handy tool for us. Then finally, uh, project management tools also is something which is important here. So you would have heard about Microsoft Project. It's basically a veteran project management tool which has been there, which is offering you your detailed scheduling and resource planning related things. So we need to ensure that any of it, it can be your Microsoft project, it can be your Jira, which is there, or there's another tool called as Asana or ASANA. Any of it, whether it is Jira, Microsoft Project, Asana, or any other tools which are available in the market. So we are ensuring that any one project management tool or multiple, if they want, it is in place. So any of it can be adopted by the client in order to ensure that right kind of uh, strategies are there, because effective project management is definitely a critical procedure or a critical step, I would say, to the success of your S4 HANA implementation. So it will require you or provide you with tools to plan, execute, monitor. So yeah, again, this is something which comes in handy, definitely. So that's your project management related. Then yeah, I think these are some of the post implementation things which we discussed in the run phase. So whenever we want to say that a S4 HANA Greenfield implementation is completed, below are some of the focus points which we need to ensure that they are taken care of and then they are ticked, I would say, in order to say that okay, we have completed a successful migration. So yeah, user adoption, continuous improvement, cloud migration, or analytics and BI, depending on whether you are doing it in on-premise or whether you are doing it in cloud. So all of it is being taken care of. So yeah, I think overall this uh, was your Greenfield implementation with SAP Activate. We discussed about the Activate methodology. We discussed about SAP Rise. What is SAP Rise? And then yeah, we had a deep dive into each of the methodology when how do we do it with Greenfield. We discussed like how you can try to finalize a Fiori app, what all things is required. Let me try to bring that Excel. We discussed that if there is a sales manager, if there is a sales head, and there are various activities which we have planned for the sales manager. There is a create sales, change sales, display sales, sales report. For sales head, if there are three activities which are similar and one approve activity is different, so there can be various methodologies in how you can create a custom catalog. So we discussed that where we can go with a sales manager catalog itself, or we can create a catalog which has the common things like change, display, and sales. We can call it uh, by some name which we can try to leverage for multiple roles. It can be sales manager, sales head, sales, any other higher post if we have. So depending on that, uh, seeing the different kind of systems we have, the different kind of options we will have. So we need to create a catalog. So we discuss all the different things which can be the different permutation combination related to this, that what all things can go in. Then further, we went into the system. We let me just open the Fiori app library as well. We discussed about how we can go and check the different kind of services. Anybody remember what all different services we have, which we need to go and check in the system for any Fiori apps?
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Do you remember anything we were talking about? SICF, OData, anything? Okay, so let me open the catalog and let's see. So yeah, this was basically the T code which we used for creation of the custom catalog /n/UI2/FLPCM underscore cust. So let's go in there. So we finalized basically two Fiori apps, if you remember. We created a custom catalog and then we inserted those two Fiori apps or their tile and target mapping into those. So we have a catalog handy now, which has two Fiori apps inside it. So let's just see what was the T code and then how we did it. But like, is the steps clear till there? That how do we finalize a Fiori app? How do we check the OData services? How do we check the SICF services? So are we clear till there before moving on to inserting that catalog in a role? Because this is important for you in order to do any hands-on or anything related to any lab activities, because this will come in handy. So So the first thing which we did was like manage customer returns, right? Okay, let me do Control Y, C, we go here. So yeah, here what I've done, I think you must have observed, but let me again tell you. We went to SAP Fiori apps for S/4HANA. We went to buy product version, and then we selected SAP Fiori for SAP S/4HANA 2023, and then we can select any of the app. So this we did because the system which we are in, it is on SAP S/4HANA 2023, and we need to ensure that the Fiori apps which we are selecting falls under this, so that the right kind of services or the right kind of versions which we need is activated in the system we are using. So this was the first Fiori app which we picked, SAP S/4HANA. Let's select the initial shipment pack. We are not on FPS01. So we selected this, then we went to implementation information, we went to installation. This we have already checked that front end, back end components are installed in our system. Then we went to configuration. Then we saw that this particular thing, this is a ICF service. So in order to check whether it is activated in the system or not, let's copy the service. Let's go here. Let's go to a T code called as /n SICF. So you need to go here. You need to enter the service name. You can put it with asterisk. You can put it directly as well. Earlier asterisk was required, but these days it is taking it directly because the name itself is starting with that. So you need to check here two kind of services. Since this is an embedded system, so you need to first come and check is the SAP S/4HANA service active. So yeah, it is active. That's why it is grayed out. Next, it is the UI5 or the front end service. This is also activated. So we are good. We check the SICF service in the system. It is activated. Then next, what we need to check is the OData service. So let's just copy the OData service. For checking the OData service, you need to go to a different T code. It's /n/UI2. Oh, okay. I think I selected the catalog one. No, we don't need to go for it. We need to go to maint_service T code. Let's just wait. I think I can't do it right now. Okay, let it open. But yeah, the FLPCM_cust is used for your catalog creation, and your main service T code, which will be, is basically used for checking whether your OData services are activated or not.
Does this take this long to open any catalog? I mean, in the normal our working times also, whenever we open a
Sorry, Chaitra.
catalog? Yeah, I mean, does this take this long whenever, I mean, for the normal working times also, this catalog, whenever click on it, does this take this long time to open?
Uh, it may take, but it usually depends on how many custom catalogs you have in the system. So right now you see that we have like 2,500 catalogs which are created. I mean, which are, some of them are standard, some of them are technical. So depending on that, it basically takes time. But if you have got a new system, it may not take this much time. But again, if there are more custom catalogs which you tend to create as in when you move forward, it will take this much time.
So
Yeah.
do we have
Because
any
it
bar? Do we have any bar for catalogs to increase the performance? See, for us it is okay, but for
yeah.
customers, they may feel tired. Like, why should we wait for this long? So, I mean, that's what last time I had a same question, like max profile and all. So in the catalogs also,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do not have such any bar to have like only 200 catalogs or 400 catalogs. There is nothing like that, right?
No, there is nothing like that. Like for us, but particularly this transaction is not something which end users will use. This is more of us only, that we'll go and we'll customize it for them. But like I think you are relating to the catalogs assignment to the users, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they
Yeah.
have more catalogs assigned to them. So yeah, for them there would be nothing, and there is no bar also. You can assign n number of catalogs. There is no restriction because it relates more to the services, and it's not only your auth objects. It's, if it would have only auth objects, then again there would be some limitations. But yeah, it's a combination of your services and auth object. So there is no bar as such.
So
But for
like
this particular,
Sonu, yeah, I mean
yeah,
sorry. I mean in usually in SAP, what whenever we put any T code, sometimes there we get a dump error, ABAP dump errors also. So in this
yeah.
in S4 also, do we have any types such errors coming whenever we perform the T codes? Any such examples you have? No
Yes,
errors
yes,
till
yeah,
now.
definitely. No, no. I mean, you will have errors for sure. I mean,
Mm.
we'll see. We'll try to develop
Okay.
few cases where we'll run up into errors. But yeah, I mean, ECC to S4. I mean, errors is something which has been there. You'll see new types of errors coming in. ABAP errors would also come in. So
Okay.
that's
Hmm.
something which is still there. It's not that it has been. We have all get over with it and all. And no, it's there. You will see that. We'll try to see if we can develop some errors, because right now I think we have a good amount of access, so we are not running up into errors. But we'll
Okay.
we'll definitely create a user. I'll show you what all are the basic roles which we need to provide. So I think
Mm.
we can use that user as a target user, and then we'll see. I think we'll surely end up into some or the other errors, because there are various things which need to go in, which we will do as a standard. So if we
Yes,
need to
because
move into errors, yeah, that's
mhm.
how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, if we
Yes,
get
yes,
an
go ahead.
error, how do we fix it? If in that way also, if you show us, it will be helpful to us. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. So once we have this catalog ready, right? Next thing what we'll do is we'll create a role. We'll put this catalog to a role. We'll create a
Okay.
user, and
Mm.
we'll use that user from scratch. So we'll initially the user won't have anything, so he won't be able to do anything. Then we'll put the key roles which the user would need, uh, and then we'll see that is he able to use the catalog which we have given to him, or he runs up into errors. So I think that will be a good thing to start. But
Mm.
I think for now, how to create this catalog is
Yes,
something which
yes.
we as security consultants would need to know. So it's good to have even elevated access for now, because this is the minimum requirement for us to create a catalog. So I think, yeah,
Okay.
that we can see definitely. And if there are no errors also, because we'll start from scratch. Even if there are no errors, we'll try to put some errors. We'll see. We'll try to remove the roles, and we'll see if this is not given, then how what all errors we get. So that's there. We even have a dedicated troubleshooting slides also. Right now, I haven't opened the Fiori slides only. I mean, there are many things there. So right now, I'm just focusing on the theory related slides for Greenfield, and then we are just using the systems. But like the slides which I have created with content team, they are quite detailed in multiple errors. So we'll definitely look at that. You'll see
Yeah.
that in coming
Thanks.
days.
Thanks, Sonu.
Okay, okay, no problem. So yeah, I think this was not the correct T code. Yeah, so this is the correct T code. IWFND main service. You need to go here in order to check whether the OData services uh, are active in the system or not. So let's come here. There are two ways we talked about. One is you can select your technical service name, click on filter. Here, just keep a asterisk, put the service, then put asterisk. So usually, whenever there is a standard OData service and then it is activated, there is a prefix Z or Z. It gets attached to it. So that's why we need to see. So yeah, we see that this service, you go and come here and see that it is active. So this was one way of checking it. The another way of checking it also we saw. So let's see that as well. You again need to go to this service, and then you can just come and directly click on add service. Select a system alias local, because this is a embedded system, and just put the service name maybe. Just click on enter. So as soon as you do it, you'll get this. If the services are active, you'll get backend services are already registered for system alias local. So it also means that the selected OData service is activated in the system. So these are the two ways for checking your OData services. Right now they are active. We'll definitely see some of the services which are not active, although it is not us who need to activate it, but yeah, we should definitely know it. So we'll see how to activate it as well. So coming to Here we have checked it that a SICF service is active, OData service is active. So next step for us was to go and basically uh, go to the target mapping here. So we see that target mapping called customer return was there and semantic action manage was there. So whenever we see target mapping, we should try to relate it with auth object for the T code. Similarly, target mapping for a Fury app. So what we did was, uh, okay, let me go back again. Mm, just give me a second, let it load. Yeah, we have checked that the OData services are active. So next, what we need to do is we need to go to uh, again your catalog creation T code. So there we went and there we created the catalog basically. At the time of creation, it asked us the name of the catalog, what do we need to keep, and what is the description of the catalog we need to keep. So with that, we created the catalog, and yeah, then I'll just show you the tile and target mapping thing. How did we arrive there? Let it load. It's loaded. So uh, basically, we created a catalog using this create option where we gave that what's the ID of the catalog, what's the title of the catalog, and we created a catalog. Then we um, went to tile and target mapping. So as soon as you create a catalog, uh, everything which you'll see here, if I pick any of the catalogs, this would be empty, the tile and target mapping. So that's why we need to go here and then we basically need to search for our semantic object. So just select this column, maybe click on set filter, you can click on search or whatever. You can even do control F and find it. So let's try to search this customer return semantic object. So let's just find the customer return. Yeah, we are here. And what was our action? It was manage. So let's try to see where is manage. Yeah, here is manage. So what we did was, since we had it, customer return and manage, we selected that row and then we clicked on add reference to a catalog. So as soon as we did it, we got all those 2598 catalogs. So what you need to do is you basically need to search for the catalog which you have created. This was our catalog, Zcat Sales Manager. So we went here, we selected this, and then we created L tile or target mapping reference. As soon as we clicked on it, that particular tile or target mapping came here. So if we just try to search for, you'll see that for customer return, this line item has come up. This is what we created for the customer return semantic object and for manage customer return Fiori app. So are we good till here? I mean, the similar thing we repeated for manage billing document request app as well. We went and we saw if all the services are active. Then we physically went to again a semantic object for billing document request. And then we added this as well. So there are currently two apps. But then whatever we did to right from selecting a Fury app to creating a catalog and putting those tile and target mapping in the Fury app or the catalog here. So yeah, so now we have the catalog ready. So let's go to our PFCG. Let's create a role. Let's give it a maybe what sales team. Let's start it. Let's start it with Z maybe. Z sales team role. Let's call it test also. So let's just create a role. Let's create a single role. Just call it test role for Fury testing. Fury security, let me call it. Okay. So we have this role. Now, the next step is just go to menu, and wherever you have this transaction icon, so you need to drop down, and then here you need to go to SAP Fiori Launchpad, and then you need to click on Launchpad Catalog. So as soon as you do it, you'll get two options: local front-end server or remote front-end server. So since this is an embedded system, so we need to select your local front-end server only, and just go here, maybe go to F4. Even you can directly paste it. If it's there, it will accept it. But good to use F4 because if you are selecting the right kind of catalog or not is something which should come from here ideally. So let's just search for zcat. Oh, let me select asterisks. Let's just try to search. So yeah, this is our catalog, zcat sales manager. Okay, I selected the incorrect one. Z underscore cat it was. Okay, uncheck this. Since it is selected, it is not picking up. Let's again search Z underscore cat star. Yeah, this is the role, zcat sales manager. So this is the catalog which we have selected, and then include applications is something which we need to check because this is a custom catalog which we have created, and then it includes only the two applications which we have added to it. So we need to create it. So just click on check mark. So you see that a sales manager catalog is added to the role. You can see the uh, text as in the description or the ID which you have given while at the time of the catalog creation. You can further select it. So these are some of the services which comes along with the catalog itself. So since we have created it and we have checked that all the OData and SICF services are activated, so that's the reason it indirectly tells us that this IWSG and IWSV will see further what is the difference between this. But for now, yeah, you can just see that this is a catalog and these are all the services which are present inside it. So it's good, and we were able to add a catalog. Let's just try to save it. Let's go to authorization, change authorization data. So again, I mean, all of it is calling your various org levels. So as we discussed, that if you have various org levels restrictions for your catalog, it can be related to your country, it can be related to your city. So all of it is something which we'll need to see. So depending on that, we'll need to ensure that we have the right kind of org levels restricted. For now, I'll go with complete org restrictions. Then let's just see what auth object is being called here. So for now, we can just activate it, but in the actual client system, you will need to see that if this is something which is applicable to us, or do we need to activate it or not. So if you see here, we have a display. It is coming in directly from your SU24. So as soon as you activate it, all of it is embedded directly from SU24. So for now, you can just directly go ahead and maybe select green for now. But then, yeah, in actual client system, you'll need to see that how do you do it, whether what kind of activities are involved or they are not involved. If we need to deactivate it, so this is something which we'll need to refer to. But yeah, this is currently not the point for us. We'll further see that if we have managed everything from a catalog standpoint is ready and activated. So how do you make sure that the catalog is usable for the client? So let's try to generate the profile. Oh, it is generated. Let's go back. Yeah, we have green. So Let's try to save it. So now we have a role with only catalog. I have not added any group to it. So the next step would be we need to create a user, and then we need to assign the relevant roles. We need to assign definitely this role which we have created, and but only with this role, uh, we'll see how does the Fury screen look like for the user. But as you know that there are some general end user roles which we need to provide to user. So if we don't provide it, the user won't be able to run the Fury catalog or the Fury decode itself. So we'll see that.